There's a question people don't ask out loud, but you can see it in their faces at the end of long weeks. Why doesn't this feel like it used to? Why does working harder seem to matter less? It's not in your head. Something fundamental shifted, and most people are still operating like the old rules apply. For about 50 years after World War II, the relationship between effort and reward was relatively straightforward. You worked hard, you got more stable. You stayed longer, you got more secure. The system had inefficiencies, but it had a certain logic. That logic broke somewhere around the 1980s. Quietly at first, then all at once. What replaced it wasn't chaos. It was a different set of rules. Rules that reward different things. And if you're still playing by the old ones, you'll keep wondering why you're losing. Let's start with what actually changed. The old model assumed something simple, that the company's success and your security were linked. If the company did well, you did well. Your incentives were aligned, even if imperfectly. But in the 1980s, a new idea took over corporate America. Maximize shareholder value. It sounds technical. What it meant in practice was this. Everything else became secondary. Not evil, not a conspiracy, just a shift in priority. And once that shift happened, the calculus changed. Investing in long-term employee development, that's a cost. Keeping experienced workers at higher salaries, inefficient. Loyalty, a nice-to-have, not a structural feature. The system didn't stop rewarding hard work because it became cruel. It stopped rewarding hard work because hard work became expensive. Here's the part that's hard to accept. Your effort still matters to the work. It just doesn't matter as much to the system. You can be excellent at your job and still be laid off when the spreadsheet says your division needs to cut costs. You can put in extra hours and still watch the promotion go to someone who's better at managing up. Because the system isn't measuring your effort. It's measuring your visibility, your leverage, and your replaceability. Those are different things. There's a concept in economics called decoupling. It's when two things that used to move together stop moving together. Productivity and wages used to track closely. If workers produced more, they earned more. That was the deal. Starting in the 1970s, that link broke. Productivity kept climbing. Wages flattened. It's not subtle. The data is clear. Workers are producing more value than ever. They're just capturing less of it. Where did it go? To capital, to shareholders, to the top of the income distribution. Again, not a moral judgment, just a description of what happened. And once you see that split, a lot of things make sense. Why working harder doesn't lead to proportional reward. Why being good at your job doesn't guarantee security. Why people who were doing everything right still got left behind. The rules changed. Most people didn't get the memo. Let's talk about what companies actually optimize for now. Flexibility. They want to be able to scale up or down quickly. That means fewer permanent employees, more contractors. Less commitment, more optionality. Efficiency. They want to extract maximum output per dollar spent. That means lean teams, high expectations, and constant pressure to do more with less. Interchangeability. They want roles designed so that people can be swapped in and out without too much disruption. That means standardized processes, clear metrics, and less reliance on individual expertise. All of this makes sense from a systems perspective. It's rational. But here's the cost. It makes you as an individual more replaceable. And the more replaceable you are, the less your hard work is worth. Not because you're doing bad work, because the system is designed to minimize its dependence on any single person. There's another layer to this. Technology didn't just change what work looks like, it changed how performance is measured. In the old model, a lot of work was invisible. Your manager saw you at your desk. They had a rough sense of your output, but it was qualitative, subjective. Now everything is tracked. Emails sent, tickets closed, metrics hit, KPIs met. That sounds like it should make things more fair, right? Objective measurement, clear data. But here's what actually happens. The things that get measured are the things that are easy to measure. And the things that are easy to measure are often not the things that matter most. Building relationships with clients, mentoring junior staff, solving ambiguous problems that don't fit neatly into a ticket system. Those things are hard to quantify, so they become undervalued. Meanwhile, someone who's good at optimizing for the metrics, hitting the numbers, even if the underlying work is shallow, gets rewarded. It's not that hard work doesn't matter. It's that the system increasingly can't tell the difference between hard work and the appearance of hard work. And in that gap, a lot of good people get overlooked. Here's the uncomfortable part. The people who do well in the system aren't necessarily working harder. They're working smarter, in a specific sense. They understand that visibility matters more than competence alone. They understand that leverage, having skills or relationships that are hard to replace, matters more than effort. They understand that optionality, keeping multiple paths open, matters more than loyalty. This isn't cynicism. It's pattern recognition. And once you see it, you realize the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was redesigned to work. It's just not designed to reward the things you were told it would reward. So what do you do with this? You could get angry. That's fair. A lot of people did everything they were supposed to do and still got a raw deal. You could disengage, quiet quit, do the minimum. Some people choose that, and honestly, it's hard to blame them. Or you could adapt, not in a motivational poster kind of way, in a clear-eyed, strategic way. Understand how the system actually works, not how it's supposed to work, not how it used to work, how it works now. Make your contributions visible, not in a self-promotional, obnoxious way, but in a way that ensures decision-makers know what you've done. Build leverage, develop skills that transfer across contexts, cultivate relationships that aren't tied to one employer, create optionality so you're not dependent on any single system staying stable. None of this is about working harder. It's about working with clarity. The old advice wasn't wrong when it was given. It's just that the world it described doesn't exist anymore. And pretending it does won't bring it back. The social contract between workers and employers didn't collapse because people stopped caring. It collapsed because the incentives changed. Companies optimize for short-term value and flexibility. Workers are left optimizing for stability in a system that no longer offers it. That's the tension, and it's not resolving anytime soon. Hard work still matters, but it's not sufficient. Maybe it never was, but the gap between effort and reward is wider now than it's been in generations. And the people who see that clearly aren't more cynical. They're just less confused. They stop asking, why isn't this working? And start asking, what game am I actually playing? Once you see the system for what it is, you stop blaming yourself for playing by rules that no longer apply. You don't have to like the game, but you do have to decide if you're going to keep playing it blind.